Taking a look out there on the racetrack is Dwayne Wolfe. Waits in lane number 1. Paul Daigrepont in lane number 2. Paul just inherited the bump spot down there at 8:05. Mason Wright out of Texas, driving that modern racing elite machine, is in lane number 3, not yet qualified. And Khalid alBalooshi, also part of that Bahrain 1 team, in lane number 4. And Khalid is not yet qualified. Just waiting for the all clear at the end of the racetrack, and we'll fire the next 4.
Khalid alBalooshi being one of the only cars, as I've mentioned several times, still running a screw blower. Brad Personette, the guys at Proline, really have a good handle on that thing, and have proven that you can still be competitive with one of the screws. I asked Khalid earlier today, do you think you'll continue with a screw blower? And he is one of the few out here who has multiple cars set up with different power adders on it. He does have a Roots car, and he says they're going to continue with the screw until it proves it cannot be competitive anymore, and you could potentially see them pull the Roots out at some point. Mason Wright, now driving for the Modern Racing and Elite crew. That's my team and crew chief out there that I raced for the past couple years. A great group. Mason's new to Pro Mod, his first 4-wide new program over there, and I expect to see them improve over the course of the next few races for sure.
Let me ask you this. If you want to make the supercharger change, all right, you've got to obviously change the blower. You're going to change probably the compression ratio and some other stuff internally. Do you need to change the car? Would the chassis, would it be that much different that you'd want to change the car?
It all depends on how it's built. Stevie Jackson and the Sydney Frigo team being one of the ones that cannot put a Roots blower on the car because of the way that the car was built. The dash bars in these things are very important when it comes to the way that a Roots blower sets back on the engine, and it will not hold a Roots blower, so they are forced to stick with the screw if they are going to stick with a hat-style supercharger. Obviously, they could switch to a Pro Charger and it wouldn't matter. But yes, these cars, some are built specifically for their specific power adder, just like my turbo car that I've driven the past couple years, specifically built for turbos, but also has the provisions, the doghouse as we call it, up there in the windshield to accept the Roots blower. So some of these built strictly for one, some built for several.
Let me give you a little helpful hint if you're going to spend any time up here announcing. You've been out there when they're running, right?
Yeah.
Can you hear the announcers when they're doing a burnout?
Sometimes. No.
When they start to burn out, just take a breath, let them go through, because I want to make sure everybody hears the information. You said because of the way dash bars, some of the bars are in the particular car we were talking about, you couldn't just switch blowers over. Right. You would have to either send the car back to the chassis shop or get reworked, or a wiser decision would probably be just get a car that was built for that combination.
And the dash bars in these cars, they're a very important bar in the process of building one of these Pro Mods. It's not just one that you go cut the middle out of, make you a little 90-degree turn and back it in there where you could get the Roots blower on it. It is a very important bar, so if the cars are not built for it, it is a major undertaking to make one hold a Roots blower that will not currently.
Oh, come on. I got a fab job. I know how to bend pipe.
You don't want me to weld it.
That's good.
I weld pipe about as good as I fly a helicopter, Alan.
That is good to know. All righty. We've got hands going up across, and we've got Dwayne Wolfe in lane number 1. Paul Daigrepont in lane number 2. Paul is the bump spot. Now, Mason Wright in lane number 3. Khalid alBalooshi in lane number 4. Those two drivers are not yet qualified. So the two drivers on the right 2 lanes, they need to make a move right here. Try to get themselves in the field, and you'll sleep a little bit better Friday night when you go back to the coach or back to the hotel if you know you're locked in. No doubt about it. No games, everybody right in the stage. Mason out of the throttle. Looks like Dwayne backs up as well. A 585 Khalid alBalooshi. That'll play a 6 flat at 204 for Paul. We'll have to go back and take another look at that and see why he slowed down, because the car was running better than that. Belushi goes up to the number 3 spot. Paul Daigrepont 6 flat. That's going to put him 13 for the moment. Dwayne Wolfe is going to end up 14 for the moment. But Mason Wright, take another look at the NHRA.TV replay, and let's see what we can see. Oh, yeah. Mason's car got up on a tire, turned sideways. Oh, way over by the center line. Oh, man.
Mason showed a pretty good driving job there in Gainesville when that thing did a pirouette out there in the middle of the racetrack. And Mason, a great driver, former top sportsman driver, and they'll get that thing figured out. Just struggling to get it down right now.
Yeah, glad to have the replay there. You were able to see it clearly. What happened to Paul out there in lane number 2? Thing made a move to the center line. He tried to fight it back. It moved again. It turned dead sideways. He got the shootout and saved the car down there. But thankfully, we had the NHRA.TV replay to go back and take a look And he's going to have to come back and get that thing to go straight down the racetrack tomorrow. So that explains why the speed was down.